afternoon, everybody. This is Joshua with K4CO Radio. We are actually sitting here a little bit later than normal with an interesting interview here. And I am going to just let it take off from Sarah Duke, who is our Vice President of Media Relations here, speaking with an interesting kind of nonprofit. I'm a little squirrely here, so a little reason here. So yeah, Sarah, who are we talking with today?
Well, I love it. So we are on site, and I'm going to say your new name, RACR, RACR, Reptile and Amphibian Center of the Rockies. And I think I nailed that one a little better, but AKA, you say your previous name and tell kind of our listeners the broad overview, and then we can kind of break it down in different chunks.
Absolutely. So we are the Reptile Amphibian Center of the Rockies, but formally we are the Northern Colorado Herpetological Society. So herpetology is the study of reptiles and amphibians. So those are the species that we work with. We work with them in a lot of different ways. Through our rescue program, we take in animals that need to find new homes, be able to give them any medical care that they need, and adopt them out. We also do conservation projects, and then a lot of education to the public too.
Awesome. And those listening, that was Kate, and we have Neon with us as well. If you guys want to tell your roles and a little bit how you got into it, we covered that earlier, but I would love to for our listeners to hear your story.
Absolutely. Yeah, my name is Kate Boyd. I am the president of RACR, and I have been obsessed with reptiles, amphibians, and all sorts of animals my whole life. But while I was in school getting my degree in zoology, I worked in a reptile and amphibian zoo and kind of just got hooked on these amazing animals, their behavior, and how misunderstood they were by the public and how much I wanted to change that. And so that's kind of where I got started a little bit. I also do wildlife rehabilitation for reptiles and amphibians. So I'm all of our native species are very near and dear to my heart too.
And really interesting. So you guys have a total of 19 total rescues, but 32 animals here on site. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
What are the different species? For those that are tuning in, I want to get into some of these reptiles specifically.
Absolutely. We have a lot of different species in our care right now. Some of the ones that we have the most of in terms of our rescue are ball pythons, bearded dragons, leopard geckos. We have a couple other different species of snakes like sand boas, and we also have a couple of iguanas in our care, some turtles, some tortoises, just about everything in between.
Mm-hmm. And where do you guys find most of your reptiles?
Most of our rescues are owner surrenders, folks who can no longer take care of their pets for any number of reasons, mental health, financial. Sometimes the animal has medical needs that people can't quite keep up with. So there's all kinds of reasons that these animals would be coming into our care, and I'm just really glad that we can be a resource, because you'd be surprised what a demand there is here in Colorado for rehoming reptiles.
For sure. And you all adopt out these rescues as well. Now, what is that process like?
Yeah, we have kind of a bit of a more involved adoption counseling process. A lot of like dog and cat shelters, there's standards for having applications, but for us, we work with so many species and a lot of our individual animals need very specific care that we actually do something a little different. So we work with individuals who reach out to us and counsel them through the process of taking care of that individual animal, that species, making sure that they have the right setup, the enclosure, and that they feel comfortable and confident knowing everything there is to know about what goes into that animal's care before they bring them home.
I personally have so much respect that you all do that. I have been a dog trainer for almost 11 years, and I've seen a lot of times where you'll get this cute little puppy, oh my goodness, and you take it home and have no idea how to even start, how to prepare the financial, the care, the behavior, the food, the lighting, the shelter. I mean, so education is such a huge part of it. So, we were talking off air, you can go buy a 6-inch snake and then boom, it's a 20-foot snake and you had no idea what you were getting into. So how do you all educate? What is that process? Are you on site doing this? Because I know you all actually take some of your rescues out into the public and do this.
Yeah, it's a combination of both. Going out into the public, educating people about not only common pet species, but some of our more exotic animals and native species, and what their requirements are both in the wild and in captivity, and how best to replicate that. But we do that process by going out into the public, by corresponding with via email, making sure we can talk people through the process of getting things set up, and then also in person to folks who are interested in adopting. They come here, they meet the animals, ask a ton of questions. We give them all the information that we can. They go home, get their enclosure, their space set up for that animal, and then they come back to finish and kind of finalize the adoption.
That is so awesome. I really love the process. Thank you for taking the time. I know that takes an extra layer of time educating yourselves, educating people as well.
Oh, yeah. And we have two really incredible adoption coordinators that really take a lot of time to make sure that people are ready to take care of these animals. There are so many species in captivity of reptiles and amphibians that it can be really overwhelming for people that are new to the conversation, or even people that are taking in a new species. It's an entirely new skill set to learn. So Rachel and Chad have done an amazing job just making sure that everyone is really comfortable and ready for what they're taking on.
That's awesome. How many people do you have involved in the rescue itself, like on your board and volunteers? And if people want to get involved, how would they be able to do that?
Yeah, so we have about 10 people on our working board and advisory boards. And we have about 30 volunteers currently, but we've had, I want to say, over 150 people get involved with RACR since its beginnings. And folks are more than welcome to check out our website. It's reptilecenter.org, and they can see ways to get involved there. We love having people come in and do animal care, where they get to interact with all the different species, learn more about what it takes to take care of them. We love having folks come with us to our education programs and our events so that we can really get the word out about how cool these animals are and really start to destigmatize them for a lot of folks.
That is amazing. Do people gravitate to one species over another, or is it totally up to the individual?
Completely up to the individual. I have some folks on the board who are really, really into amphibians because they've worked with them for a long time. We have one board member who was working with hellbender salamanders for a while, and that's a really notable species. But I think a lot of us can say that we like the variety.
Nice. Well, for those that are listening, I actually did hold a snake today, which was way out of my comfort zone. So thank you for getting me a little more comfortable. So yeah,
absolutely.
That is, I think that is a common reaction of holding your breath and getting a little nervous before
I think it's really common. It's super common. Yeah. The media has not done reptiles a huge favor by making them the villains in like every film. I mean, there's a lot to learn about them, but I think that a lot of times people do face reptiles with a bit of hesitation, especially adults. I find that kids are a little bit more brave than a lot of our adult counterparts just because they haven't taken in as much information that's demonizing these animals. So it's really wonderful to see, kids getting excited to learn more about them, and then to see the parents who are on the other side of the room get slowly closer, a little more comfortable, and start sharing in that joy, that learning and passion that the kids bring to the table. I absolutely love that.
It's so true. I took my son the last summer, I believe, and they had a turtle exhibit out there, and you could see exactly what you were talking about. Mm-hmm. You have all these little kids like, I want to touch and let me feed, and all the parents are going, what's going to happen to my finger? Can I really do this? So it's true. They don't have the fear, and they're so, excited and interested in it. That's very cool.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we'll delve a little deeper. We're going to take a quick break. Again, we are here with Kate and Neon with RACR, and we'll be right back.
All right. We are back talking about reptiles and snakes and all that fun stuff. And I have a question real quick, because you guys have this frog downstairs that, if you touch them and then you kind of like, put your hands in your mouth, you said it's poisonous or it'll really mess you up?
Yes, yeah, we do have one frog in our care right now who was a stowaway from a plant shipment to a greenhouse that some employees then found, cared for it for a while, and then decided to surrender it to us so we can find it a forever home. But our Cuban tree frog, they do secrete a toxin through their skin when they feel threatened, and that toxin, when it gets in your eyes, your nose, your mouth, it can cause a lot of like irritation, some swelling. Some people can have different reactions to it just based on like individual bodies.
Right.
But they, yeah, they're a little toxic, so we handle them with gloves, making sure everybody stays safe.
So it won't kill you or anything, but it'll definitely
Right.
irritate you.
Yes, exactly.
Do you guys ever deal with poisonous reptiles?
It's pretty rare for us to get in any like truly medically significant poisonous or venomous animals, and it's not safe or legal, and we definitely would not want to encourage anybody to be keeping any medically significant venomous species in their home, so we don't take those in through our rescue, but we have worked with rattlesnakes in the past for wildlife rehabilitation, and there are some species that have like mild toxins like our tree frog friend, or mild venoms like our native hognose snakes that we work with occasionally, yeah.
All right, fair enough. That's my questions right there. So, yeah, go for it.
I like it. Well, I know Josh and I are for sure out of our comfort zone, which is so awesome because you guys are the experts and you guys that's your job, to make us feel really comfortable. And
But Sarah held a snake, so
Yes, I did,
you're
yeah.
better.
I don't know about that.
There's always potential for snake holding.
Exactly.
The day's not over.
The day is young. Exactly. Well, I found this fascinating. So you all have a total of 19 total rescues here. 32 animals total. How many different species are currently with you all right now?
I have to tally them up.
Okay.
I think at the moment that is at about 12 or 13 different species.
Okay. How many total in Colorado as far as reptiles, amphibians go?
Yeah, for our native species here throughout the state, we can find around 74, 75 different native reptile and amphibian species. So that includes like our snakes, our turtles, a lot of different lizard species, and then of course our frogs, toads, and our single salamander species, the native tiger salamander.
Oh, we only have one salamander.
Yes,
Poor
he's
thing.
our Colorado native amphibian.
Okay.
The tiger salamander. Fun fact.
That's awesome. You guys know all these fun facts. Okay. So I found this fascinating. So I know dog behavior, Nian, as do you. You trained canine dogs, which is amazing.
Yes, I did that on the East Coast.
That's very cool. So I know dog behavior. Everything else, no, I do not. So tell our listeners how a snake's tongue works, because I find this fascinating.
Yeah, snake tongues are a whole topic in and of themselves, but they do not have any taste buds on the actual tongue itself whatsoever. Our snake friends, when they stick their tongue out in the air and they flick it up and down, they've got that fork on the tongue. They're picking up different particles in the air, and when it goes back into their mouth, it rubs across the roof of their mouth where they have a special organ called a vomeronasal organ. And that basically is kind of like a combination of smell and taste a little bit. And so they pick up these particles in the air, and then when it rubs across that Jacobson's organ, that vomeronasal organ, they can kind of get an idea of what's going on around them. And that's kind of like smell and taste combined. And that fork on the tongue itself is kind of like the same reason we have, our 2 nostrils, our 2 ears, our 2 eyes. It helps us, it helps our snake friends to sense direction with that kind of smell taste combo.
Nice. And the same applies when they are in water. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, their vomeronasal organ does work with water.
That's pretty amazing. And maybe I have another question about our Colorado species, because 98% of our listeners are in the state here. How many species out of the plethora that we have are actually venomous and can hurt you?
In Colorado, we only have one type of animal that is truly medically significantly venomous to us, which is our rattlesnakes. We do have 3 different species of rattlesnakes throughout Colorado. In our area, in the northern Colorado area, we have primarily prairie rattlesnakes. And lucky for us, all of our rattlesnakes throughout the state, their venom is relatively mild compared to some others throughout North America. So our venomous species are not as much of a threat, I think, as the public generally kind of gets that stigma about. They are really unlikely to actually like bite and envenomate folks. And then when they do, that venom is usually pretty mild. It's definitely still something to go at as fast as you can to the emergency room about. But as far as like deadly venom, there have only been a very small handful of cases of actual death in Colorado due to prairie rattlesnake or just rattlesnake bites in general.
So go ahead. Did you have something?
I was just going to say, one of the things that I enjoy most about being able to educate people about snakes here in Colorado is being able to help folks differentiate between them. A lot of folks will just cut the heads off of snakes, not really knowing what species they are, just because there is a perceived imminent threat. And so being able to help educate folks about, which species you should give a little wider berth to and which ones you encourage to maybe find a home somewhere else. There's a lot of ways to go about it without chopping heads.
So you heard it here first. Do not chop off their heads. Take a picture, send it to Kate and Neon and say, what is this? And can we rehome it? And then I kiddingly thought I have to go stalk this snake wherever it's going and hopefully don't irritate it. Say, yeah, it's a garden snake. What is it?
Garter snake.
Garter
Yeah.
snake. I always call them garden snakes. Garter snakes.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you ever have a snake or an animal or reptile specifically that you are curious about, please feel free to contact us. We love seeing your pictures and we love helping you identify what's in your area.
Nice, nice. Do you guys like being in this facility, or what are you all hoping for the future?
Yeah, well, we feel very lucky to have the space that we do have currently to be able to work with the animals that we do, but we have bigger goals that we're hoping to expand into a commercial facility where we would have more space for rescues. There is such a need for us to take in more animals. We get in more requests than we have the capacity to take in currently. So we would love a larger space that is a little more centralized towards like town, a little bit, a little less out in the sticks, and then also more space for education, for wildlife rehabilitation, and then of course more room for our rescues too.
Nice. Okay. Well, if any of our listeners have a spot in mind that these reptiles would love to be at, let us know. You can reach out to us on K4CO Radio, or you can contact Kate and Neon at RACR. We're going to take another quick break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. Happy Sunday, everyone, and happy time change. I hope everyone is adjusting accordingly. We are on site, which is very exciting. We are up in Laporte this afternoon, early evening, with RACR, RACR, Reptile and Amphibian Center of the Rockies, with Kate and Neon. Thank you again for having us. This is quite a treat for us. Wanted to kind of hone in a little bit on education. I know that is a big part of who you all are, educating the public about the local reptile and amphibian species. So tell us a little bit more about education, different programs that you offer, where you go. Delve into that.
Yeah, our education programs, we just want to be able to spread the word about how amazing all of these different species are. There's so many unique physiology facts about them that are so beneficial to like human medical sciences, and also so many species are just really crucial towards our ecosystems and keeping our world healthy. And so we want to be able to teach people about that. We want people to be able to kind of have an immersive experience with that. One of the biggest things I think is most helpful for education is people being able to really connect with these animals up close. It's so much different when you can see an animal in person and interact with them versus, watching a documentary on TV or something like that. So for us being able to get people really passionate about these animals by introducing them up close, whether that is with our elementary school education programs where we bring some of our animal ambassadors, talk about some of our non-native species, some of the animals that come through our rescue, we can teach people about, what species make, relatively good reptile amphibian pets to bring home versus, animals that don't make great pets, and why sometimes that can lead to invasive species and issues, that extend further beyond just our homes and our day-to-day lives. We also love educating people about our native species in particular. There's so much to learn. There's so many species that are very elusive. They're hard to spot. They're difficult for folks to even know exist in our area. So to be able to get people to understand what animals live around us so that we can better prepare our yards, our homes, and our ecosystems to help them out too and to coexist is really important. So one of the ways that we do that is we're getting further into spring now. We're very excited because we're about to be able to start doing our seasonal, we call them herping hikes, because they are, we are going to look for herpetofauna, so reptiles and amphibians with the herpetology. So we take folks out to our natural areas and we point out different species that we might see. We can talk about their ecosystems, how to keep our natural areas clean for them, and how folks can help out just in the day-to-day for these animals in our native spaces. And we love bringing people out and about. We usually do our hikes about once a month. So we're able to get out and about into nature, get folks connected with those native species. And we also usually turn those into natural area cleanup hikes at the same time. So we bring along lots of equipment to be able to clean up our natural spaces so we can educate people and also do a little bit of conservation work at the same time.
Yeah, it's all about environmental stewardship in the end. A lot of what we do points back to that. Even having ambassador animals, studies show that when folks have a personal connection with an animal, after meeting an ambassador animal, they're more likely to participate in conservation going forward because they have a personal connection with it. So both the animal ambassadors and our education programs and our hikes and our cleanups, all of it is to help preserve these natural spaces that not only the reptiles and amphibians call home, but we do too, and we want to be able to share them with future generations.
That is awesome. I wanted to delve a little more into the hike specifically. You said once a month. Are these all in northern Colorado, and are they open to any age who wants to participate?
Yeah, they are primarily in northern Colorado for now, although occasionally we will travel to different parts of the state if there's a particular state park or a particular species that we're trying to go out and observe out in the wild. So we will travel around occasionally, but for the most part we stick kind of close to home here for us. And yeah.
Anybody's welcome. We have a lot of families that come and bring their kids so that we can create a safe environment to appreciate these animals without necessarily just letting them loose out into the wild, flipping rocks and seeing what they find, which is very much something that a lot of us did as kids, but it helps to have some structure.
Nice. The last quote-unquote hike I was on with animals was in Africa. And
That's one heck of a hike.
It was one heck of a hike. Yeah, our tour guide had a few shotguns. Because you never know. Do you all do something similar? Are you ready for something like that?
It's not necessary for the level of hike that we're doing.
Okay.
Most of the time, we'll see something pretty distantly, pull out the binoculars, point it out, pass them around. It's very unlikely that we are going to bring our guests close enough that a shotgun would be required.
Okay, I never know. You never know what you're going to encounter. I am such a novice when it comes to reptiles and amphibians. I mean, I shared with you all. Santa brought my son 4 fish, and the learning curve was large. I had no idea the temperature, the ventilation, the cleaning system that has to go on, the health, the food. I mean, thank you for educating people because I needed to really become educated. I was, very lost.
Anytime you take in a new species, there's so much work to do. From a fish to a dog to a lizard. You have to learn an entirely new school of thought, like how this animal functions, how it survives, and how it thrives, how we can create the best possible environment for this animal. And a lot of times it's not something that you get when you're out shopping for that animal. So I really like that we are a resource for folks that are interested in doing it the right way.
For sure. So on top of the education, you said you all went into schools. Are these specific schools? Is it specifically elementary? How are you all finding those, and can you add more?
Yeah, we are always looking to expand our education. We usually work with all age ranges from kindergarten all the way up to college level. So we regularly teach college level classes for veterinary students and vet tech students, as well as pre-K kiddos and everywhere in between. We do a lot of elementary school programs, in particular with like third graders, but overall it's just all across the board. We also do a lot of community outreach events as well. So if there is a festival going on over the summer, we'll have like an outreach booth where we have our information. We might have an animal ambassador with us, teach just the general public about these animals.
And when we say all ages, we mean all ages. We have had events in nursing homes. We've had events in elementary schools and everywhere in between.
Awesome. And still looking to build. So if a teacher is listening or a college student saying, I really want to get into this or I'm studying it, go talk to your professor, go talk to your parent and say, hey, let's go on a hike or let's get this crew into our school. I think it's pretty cool. I never had this when I was a kid. I didn't have the chance to learn about snakes and frogs, and you're going to have a dog, and which I love, don't get me wrong, but I didn't have a choice. So I mean, it's very cool that you're broadening the spectrum a bit.
And we're all, chronically inside. There's not a lot of context for folks have about reptiles and amphibians, so it is a privilege for us to be able to bring that into the school to introduce people to it.
I had another question actually about the ones that you bring in that you're looking to adopt out. How are they finding you? And how do you team up people? I know that there's an education and a process for that, but how are they finding you, or how are you finding them?
Yeah, for our adoptable animals, we have them listed on our website, and then a couple other of like pet finding websites like petfinder.com. And so folks reach out to us if they're interested in a particular animal or a group, and then we kind of reach out via email and start that adoption counseling process. Give them a little bit of information just about that species, ask what questions they might have, and go from there.
Awesome. I did want to also mention they are a 501c3. They are a nonprofit, and they are PACFA certified, which is actually a very big deal. It's very important to make sure that safety standards are in place. So just to let you all know that they are very well loved, very well taken care of. I'm pretty amazed that they have all the space they need. We watched an iguana, I believe. Am I saying that correctly? Eat a banana, which was very fun, and some lettuce.
Yeah,
I'd be happy with a banana and some lettuce.
Lord Marmalade is our green iguana that you will probably see at a lot of our events because he is just an absolute sweetheart. We affectionately call him the Colorado's most famous iguana because, can you name another one? But no. He's been on TV. He's been interviewed. It's very cute.
I love that you say he's cute. And what is the size? So just our listeners can...
He's about 4 feet and growing. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, from nose to tail. The guy's he's a teenager as far as iguanas go. So he's got like a little growing to do.
And this iguana was literally licking you in the face.
Yeah, I don't usually recommend that for iguanas. I don't hold him close to your face. Lord Marmalade is a very special docile creature. Yeah. It's out of the ordinary that he is this kind.
Well, I kind of noticed a theme with all of your reptiles here. Mm-hmm. They are very sweet. I think it's you guys that are doing this.
They're getting the care they need. They're not stressed. They're not under a lot of pressure. There's not a lot of people moving past their tanks all the time, not a lot of noise. So we do what we can to try to keep them as happy as they can be so that they can continue to be ambassadors for us, or they can be adopted out to families that want to be able to hold an animal while they're watching TV. We do a lot of behavior work to make sure that everybody's ready for their jobs.
Are there any species that you, for those that are listening thinking, oh my gosh, I need to rehome or want to adopt it to someone else, is there any species that you would not take?
Due to our space capacity, we are unable to take really large animals. And by really large, I mean your sulcatas, your retics. A lot of aquatic turtle species are challenging for us right now just because the space that one aquatic turtle could take up, we can put 2 or 3 other animals, smaller animals. So it's challenging for us in the facility that we're in right now to be able to take really large animals or venomous animals that we wouldn't want to rehome out to other families. But we are hoping to change that one day, at least with the big boys, with the big animals, when we have a facility that's large enough to safely and ethically house them.
Awesome. I love it. Well, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, I know you guys have an event or two coming up here that we want to get excited for and start promoting. So we will be right back after this break. Welcome back. Happy Sunday, everybody. Again, we are in Laporte up north in Colorado on site with RACR, RACR, Reptile and Amphibian Center of the Rockies. Thank you, Kate and Neon, for showing us around, educating us, because this is amazing. I am such a novice, for sure. It's pretty amazing. I know a snake when I see it. I know a frog when I see it. A squirrel I'm pretty good at. But even fish, I mean, there's so many different species, and to educate people is really important, I think, and vital for security, safety, all of that. So, and I know that you all have some events coming up. Tell us about those.
Yes, we do. I think the biggest one coming up is going to be our Creature Concert. This is our second annual event that we hold at the Lyric here in Fort Collins, where we host local bands, we bring animal ambassadors, we have all kinds of reptile and amphibian themed activities for our concert goers, just so that we can start that conversation about I went to a concert that had reptiles and amphibians at it. People are going to tell their friends about that, so it gives us a platform to talk about why these animals are important, to teach people about, how amphibians are indicator species and why you should care. And like I said, it all goes back to environmental stewardship. So this concert is a pet project. It's very near and dear to my heart. I'm really happy that we're able to do it annually, and I'm really grateful to our sponsors for making it happen. This year we've got two bands. We've got Cactus Cat and we've got Sarah Slayton and the Great Perhaps. Those are both local bands up here in Fort Collins, although I think Sarah Slayton may be touring the UK right now, which is why they weren't available recently. But that's going to be on April 13th. Doors open at 3 p.m. and you can find tickets through our website on reptilecenter.org.
Awesome. And where is this taking place?
It's at the Lyric here in Fort Collins, which is like an old indie movie theater type place. There's a lot of really cool art that's always moving around. That place is always changing, and it's an eclectic place for an eclectic event.
That is awesome. And can people actually hold and touch the reptiles that you bring in?
People can come up close and personal with our ambassador animals. We don't tend to hand them over because we'd hate to think that somebody would just book it, with Lord Marmalade.
Oh my gosh.
we need to keep him around, but people are welcome to pet the animals. Our rule is anywhere but the face. Nobody likes getting poked in the face, but there will be reptiles there. There will be drag performers there. There will be a tarot reader there. All of the eclectic things that may be a bit misunderstood are all under one roof. So I'm very excited about it.
That is very awesome. Tell us again where you can find tickets.
Yep, so the tickets will be through the Lyrics website.
Okay.
But since I don't have the hyperlink memorized, you can go to reptilecenter.org and you'll see Creature Concert right in the header.
Awesome. Okay. Any other news that's coming up that you all have events, educational things coming up?
We have the Fort Collins Roller Derby is going to be hosting a they're having a game, and we're the nonprofit that they've chosen to have proceeds donated to, which I think is really cool. There's going to be a halftime show where folks have to get a fake turtle across the road on skates, but there's going to be all kinds of obstacles in their way. It's really hilarious.
A fake turtle?
A fake turtle.
I need that to be elaborated.
Oh yeah, we have like a little statue of a turtle, to represent the turtle crossing the road, because it's springtime. We have a lot of turtles moving from one area to another for nesting purposes, mating purposes. And unfortunately, one of the major things that we see happen to them are they get hit by cars. So it's a little bit of education about, if you see a turtle, how to pick it up properly and skate it to the other side of the road, but, in a more novel kind of way that people can get into.
I had another question to go back to what you all really need the most as a rescue. Is this funds? If so, where does the majority of the funding go? Or is it resources that people can donate?
For us right now, funding is definitely in the forefront of our minds as we're looking to expand into a commercial space. So our Creature Concert is one way that we're trying to raise funds for that purpose. But but folks are more than welcome to donate like in-kind items like towels, paper towels, cleaning supplies. Newspapers are definitely something that we use a lot for our bedding to help keep our animals nice and sterile and clean while they're going through their quarantine process in our care. So there's a ton of ways that people can donate, help us out, whether that is in kind with items, whether that is monetarily, or even just time if they want to get involved, want to help us out on our hikes with our cleaning, or become a volunteer.
You all are so versatile. I really have appreciation that you all cover so many different aspects. I mean, you have the adoption, you have the conservation, you have the education. I mean, you guys are kind of a one-stop shop, which is really amazing. I think a lot of sometimes nonprofits overlook certain pieces of that. And so they can contact you for so many different reasons and get involved. So I think that's pretty powerful.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really proud of all the work that this organization does to try to fill the need that we see here in Colorado. Unfortunately, there really aren't a lot of places to contact with reptile and amphibian questions or help or what have you. So we try to do as much as we can. We are always expanding and adding more. Hopefully in the future we'll be able to add on, research projects and more conservation projects, but we try to do what we can with what we have for the time being, and the more people get involved and spread the word, the more good we can do.
That is wonderful. So tell our listeners again how to contact you. What's the best way? Website, phone number, Facebook, let us know.
Website's going to be the best way to go. It's going to have all the other information you could possibly want on there. It's just reptilecenter.org. You can find our contact information there. You can find our social media there. You can look at all the cute little faces of adoptable animals we have on there.
They're so cute. I've been looking at it this whole time. It is really, really precious.
Which one are you going to adopt?
Oh, stop. Oh, my goodness. If one of these little turtles, that's why I asked about the turtles. You have box turtles down there?
Yeah, we have a Gulf Coast box turtle and we have a Florida box turtle right now that are both available for adoption.
Okay. If you have a turtle, I can't believe I'm going to say this on air. People are going to hold this to me. Okay. If you all have a turtle that can be in water all the time and hang out with some platies and some betta fish and 2 snails, then I will adopt a turtle.
Those fish would probably be a very tasty snack.
Okay. That's kind of where I was going. I mean, but they're so cute.
They're so cute. They're so cute. And aquatic turtles are so entertaining to watch, and they are so much work to keep up with. It's one of the things that we see a lot, especially with folks who go to any pet store and pick up a red-eared slider. That's the most common one that you'll see at pet stores. And those guys get decently large. And I find that a lot of the times people have trouble keeping up with, their filter, with their feeding, with their enrichment, giving them the UVB that they need. A lot goes into it. And so, unfortunately, that has become one of the invasive species here in Colorado. You'll see them out-competing our painted turtles. You'll see them taking over breeding sites. And every time we go out on our herping hikes and we're looking through our binoculars at a row of turtles on a log, we're looking for that little red mark on the side of the head that says, I'm invasive or I'm native. So.
And you were talking about a turtle that gets so massive they can burrow underneath a house?
Oh, that was a sulcata. Those guys aren't here in Colorado.
Oh, okay. Of course, that's the one that stuck in my head. I'm like, man, size of a house, cool.
Those are the ones I was talking about that people get in over their heads in terms of their size. That's a land tortoise. They are so cute when you buy them, when they're so little and they can fit in one hand, and then they are the size of a coffee table in just a few years, and they love to burrow, and they need a whole lot of space and a whole lot of enrichment, and
I can't imagine.
You got to do your research, and that's why we're here. If you're thinking about a turtle, we will tell you all the good things, and we'll tell you all the challenges you'll have to overcome.
I so appreciate that, being a novice. I had no idea what went into 4 fish. I thought, nope, I am going to go to a fair, I'm going to win myself a little goldfish and put it in a tiny bowl, and we're going to be all set. And no, that's really not the case.
It would be so cool if it was that easy, wouldn't it?
It would be. In my mind, it was that easy, and it was a rude awakening.
We've all been there.
Thought you guys need a lot of care, right temperature, but it's so worth it. I mean, you love it. That's what we do for our heartbeats, right?
Yeah, we just bring a little bit of nature into our homes and it makes us happy.
It does. Well, heartbeats always tend to do that. I have a soft spot.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all so much for allowing us to be in Laporte with you this evening, and thank you for showing us all your different species. I can't believe I held a snake.
I'm so proud of you.
I'm actually still a little jittery, to be honest.
It'll be a tale for years to come.
I'll have to go calm myself. Yeah, say, okay, it's okay. I'm good.
Everything went great.
It went, thank you.
You did amazing.
Well, it's because I have you two here.
There
They're
you
like,
go.
you got this. Just stay calm and yeah. You have an effect, I think, on your reptiles. I think is the secret.
That's generous.
Well, I think that way with dog owners. I'm like, if you stay really calm, they feed off your energy.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they're doing. They're like, you're going to hold me and I'm going to go to sleep because this is just so comfortable right now. Life is lovely. As you said, it's the best day ever. And that's probably what they're thinking every day.
Oh, yeah. Not to anthropomorphize, but absolutely yes.
Exactly. Anything else that we didn't cover that you want to get into a little bit more? They're about adoption, rescue, how to get involved.
I could talk about reptiles and amphibians for hours, honestly. That's a dangerous question.
The mic is yours.
I think just the biggest takeaway is getting people excited about what we do is so important. And I think it's going to have just a really wonderful rippling effect. The more people that we can educate, the more animals won't need our help in the future. And that's just the ideal that we're working towards.
That is awesome. Kate, anything else you wanted to add?
I think you nailed it.
Nice. Well, if you all are listening and want to meet a snake, have it in your school, come adopt one, come volunteer, have extra funds to donate, have a space in mind, all of that would be wonderful. Again, you can contact Kate and Neon at RACR, RACR. Tell the website one more time.
Reptilecenter.org.
Thank you. Or you can reach out to us at K4CO Radio. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for opening up your home to us.
Absolutely. Thank you for making the drive out here.
Oh, of course. Well, I live in Fort Collins, so this was it was nice. Terry Lake is here.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea. I'm a native to Colorado. I'm like, oh my gosh, that lake is really beautiful.
Gotta look around.
I know. I'm like, I'm in different mountains out here. It's so lovely. You'll have a very beautiful spot. So
Thank you so much.
no wonder these animals are happy. Reptiles are in love with where they're at. So thank you all again. And we'll be in touch here soon, I'm sure.